Ice. That was the word that spread first. Not shouted, not announced, whispered, passed mouth to ear among exhausted men standing on the steel decks of captured American ships in the Western Pacific, late summer 1944. For soldiers of the Imperial Japanese Army and Navy, raised on rice balls wrapped in paper and dried fish scraped thin as bark, the idea that food could be kept cold, days, even weeks after leaving port, felt almost unreal. On September 2, 1944, after the U.S. seizure of Peleliu Harbor in the Palau Islands, Japanese naval ratings captured near the docks were marched past damaged American supply vessels. The air reeked of diesel fuel, cordite, and rotting seaweed. Sweat soaked their cotton uniforms. Salt crusted their collars. Most had not eaten properly in days, some in weeks. Then an American sailor swung open a heavy steel door below deck. Cold spilled out. Not metaphorical cold, real cold. A breath of air so sharp it fogged in the tropical heat. Inside, metal racks stacked with beef cuts wrapped in waxed paper, crates of butter, sides of pork, even ice cream tubs stamped with U.S. Navy markings. The refrigeration unit hummed steadily, powered by diesel generators that had run non-stop since leaving San Diego weeks earlier. Several Japanese prisoners froze where they stood. Petty Officer Shigeru Tanaka, a 26-year-old engine mechanic formerly assigned to the destroyer Yugure, later recalled during U.S. Navy interrogation, ONI report, October 1944, that he thought the Americans were staging a deception. "Food does not last like this at sea," he said. "It was against what we knew of ships." What Tanaka knew was hunger. By 1943, Japanese logistics were already collapsing. American submarines, boats like USS Tang SS-306 and USS Wahoo SS-238, had turned shipping lanes into killing grounds. Rice shipments from Indochina vanished beneath the waves. Fresh vegetables were a memory. Meat was rare enough that men joked about dreaming of it like childhood ghosts. On island garrisons such as Rabaul, Saipan, and later Iwo Jima, rations shrank to survival quantities. Soldiers boiled palm roots, scraped mold from hardtack. On Biak Island, men of the 222nd Infantry Regiment reportedly fought over a single sack of rice dropped by aircraft in May 1944. Hunger wasn't just discomfort, it eroded discipline, morale, and thought itself. So when Japanese soldiers saw cold storage at sea, it wasn't merely impressive, it was destabilizing. One captured sergeant on Leyte, taken on October 23, 1944, stared silently at a slab of chilled beef being sliced in an American galley. According to a U.S. Army interpreter from the 96th Infantry Division, the man finally asked one question: "How many ships like this do you have?" The answer, thousands, was never translated. Refrigeration wasn't new technology, but the scale was incomprehensible. U.S. Navy fleet oilers, hospital ships, and attack transports carried walk-in freezers capable of feeding entire task forces. On escort carriers like USS Gambier Bay, CVE-73, sailors ate fresh eggs and chilled milk weeks into operations. Even on the brutal approach to Okinawa in April 1945, American ships served hot meals backed by refrigerated stores. For Japanese servicemen raised in a culture where supply was expected to be endured, not abundant, the psychological impact was severe. Captain Masao Ikeda, captured during the collapse of Manila in February 1945, admitted during questioning that American food logistics shattered his assumptions about warfare. "We believed spirit decided victory," he said, "but spirit cannot freeze meat." The contrast cut deeper because Japanese doctrine had long accepted hunger as proof of resolve.
Soldiers were taught that endurance purified loyalty. Rations were minimal by design. Complaints were weakness. Instructors at Toyama Army School even warned recruits that reliance on comfort dulled aggression. But standing in an American ship's galley, white enamel walls clean enough to reflect light, coffee steaming in metal urns, refrigerators humming calmly while battles raged outside, many prisoners felt something crack internally. Not envy, doubt.
They began to ask questions they had never allowed themselves to think. If the enemy eats like this, how long can they fight? If they can keep food cold across an ocean, what else can they sustain? On Guam, December 1944, Japanese prisoners assigned to dock labor watched U.S. Navy Seabees unload refrigerated cargo at night under portable floodlights. Frozen turkeys for Christmas, butter stacked higher than ammunition crates. One former infantryman muttered, according to Marine Guard notes, "This is not an army. It is a moving city." The realization was quiet, but corrosive. Some prisoners cried later, not from shame, but exhaustion. Hunger had narrowed their world to minutes in mouthfuls. The Americans seemed to live in a future where scarcity itself had been defeated. This was not why Japan lost the war, but it explained how it was lost. On August 15, 1945, when Emperor Hirohito's voice crackled over radios announcing surrender, many Japanese soldiers already understood. Not because of bombs alone, but because somewhere along the way they had glimpsed an enemy who could carry cold food across the sea indefinitely without stopping, and they knew then that no amount of sacrifice could bridge that distance.